Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dan on Sports. Well, this story kind of went under the radar screen, what with all that was happening in sports over the weekend. But the NFL, according to various reports, wants to peel 5 more games off of its Sunday inventory and move them to Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Now, hear me out. They want to have 3 Wednesday night games. They want to have a game on Christmas Eve, and they want to have another game on Black Friday. This is all for the upcoming season, 2026. The NFL is bent on getting Wednesday night football so that you could have football on Sunday, Monday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday night. And if they had their way, there would be a Friday night game too, but by law, they can't. But that's why the NFL is after this 18th game. They want to add one more regular season game. Now, I've talked about this in previous commentaries, but they want to add that 18th game so that the Super Bowl can be played on President's Day weekend. That's Sunday of President's Day weekend, and then most people have Monday off so they could recover from their Super Bowl parties. That's always been a goal, and they would realize it with an 18th regular season game because they would add another bye week. So there would be 2 bye weeks in the course of an NFL regular season. But here's the other part of it. If they add a second bye week, it would enable the NFL to have the flexibility necessary to add a Wednesday night game on every Wednesday of the season. That's what an extra bye week would give them, in addition to obviously a lot more television revenue. And that's where they see their big money stream being, whether it be television revenue or streaming revenue. They want to televise more games, either by way of over-the-air or streaming, probably streaming more than anything, because you could see that's the direction in which the sports world is going. But that's the reason the NFL wants to add an 18th regular season game in addition to stretching the Super Bowl to the Sunday of President's Day weekend, because it enables the NFL to have a regular Wednesday night game. See, the NFL believes, and the numbers prove it, the NFL believes that there's an appetite for football, obviously on Sunday and Monday night, but also on Wednesday and Thursday night, so that you've got the NFL 4 days out of the week. And by the way, they're doing away with those, and it wasn't every Monday night, but during the course of the season, they had about, 3 or 4 Monday doubleheaders. They're doing away with that doubleheader approach and just going with a single game, so that's how they can shift more of the inventory, peeling some from Sunday, peeling some of those games from Monday, and moving them to Wednesday, because that's a separate package. And according to the story, that's how they are going to approach this package, this 5-game package that is designed to appeal to streaming services, although Fox Sports reportedly among the networks is interested in the package. There would be 3 Wednesday night games. There would be a Christmas Eve game, and there would be another game on Black Friday, in addition to the Amazon Prime game. And that would be bid on separately. Maybe Amazon Prime gets it, but they'd have to pay an additional rights fee. So it's all pitting these streamers against each other in the name of more money for a league that manufactures money, the National Football League. So that's why, and like I said, the story flew under the radar screen a bit because there was so much going on in the world of sports, particularly the Masters. But that's what the NFL wants. They want, and don't forget, by the way, the NFL also gets a cut of the action with these betting services. Don't think the NFL, out of its benevolence, allowed these betting services to enable people to bet on NFL games once it became legal in the country. The NFL gets a cut of the action, as does baseball. They all get a cut of the action. So if you can highlight more games, make more games that would be regional, national, like on a Wednesday night, there's going to be more action and more wagering, more revenue for the NFL, in addition to rights fees and everything else that goes with it. So that's the story. In a nutshell, why the NFL long-term wants to add that 18th regular season game, because it gives them, because they would also come up with another bye week, so there'd be 2 bye weeks per season. It would give the NFL the flexibility to have a regular Wednesday night package to go along with Sunday and Monday and Thursday. Because the NFL believes, and you can't deny the numbers, that there is an appetite for NFL football like you cannot imagine. And it's just growing. And also, one other point, because there will be more expansion. There's 32 teams in the NFL now, and you'll probably see 2 or even more teams in an international division. Do not discount the fact that the NFL is paying particular notice to the NBA and how the NBA wants to start an international division. They're probably further along than the NFL as far as creating an NBA international. Although, just because the NFL isn't talking about it doesn't mean that they probably don't have the blueprint already in place too. But that said, let me rephrase that. The NBA has been more public, I guess. The NFL does not disguise the fact that it loves to have international games. That's another reason if they could particularly add an 18th game, every team would play 1 international game per season. So the NFL talks about some of its international hopes, whereas the NBA not only has international hopes, they want to form an NBA international. And I think perhaps in the long run, the NFL would like to form an NFL international with teams, for example, in England, in Germany, maybe France, maybe Spain, who knows? So there are a lot of moving parts here, but do not discount the fact the NFL looks at Wednesday night football as another avenue to create more revenue, and that will lead towards an 18th regular season game, even though the Players Association has created a lot of static against an 18th regular season game, because that 18th regular season game gets you 2 bye weeks and enables the NFL to formulate a Wednesday night schedule. And the NFL is going to make this financially worth the players' while. Do not discount that either. They're going to make it worth the effort for the players to have an 18th regular season game. It's going to happen. And I think it's going to happen before the decade is out. We shall see. That's going to do it for Dan on Sports. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And thank you very much for subscribing to my newsletter. And to do that, all you have to do is go to danonsports.com. See you later.